Hey, so if you haven't heard the news, it was just announced that Sayuri, the creator of many incredible songs such as my beloved Hananoto, has unfortunately passed away. The reason is most likely a chronic illness, as her husband, Amaarashi, stated that she has been fighting one for a while, but that isn't the point of this video. This video isn't to report on news or speculate anything. I don't want to do that. This video is just a massive Sayuri fan telling his experience and how Sayuri's music saved him, and his experiences as a fan of Sayuri, in hopes that no matter how much time passes, this legendary figure and her impact on many people all around the world will never be forgotten. This video is just a broken fan telling his tale, in hopes someone can understand how he feels, because he just doesn't know what else he can do for her. In my memory, I've known Sayuri for quite a long time now, since around my high school days, so for about 6 to 7 years. I wouldn't say I became a huge fan following everything she did right away, but after being blown away by the incredible ending of Boku Dake ga Inai Machi, I immediately started listening to some of her work and was amazed by her voice. So high-pitched but so powerful at the same time. It was unique. There were no artists that sounded even remotely like her, and most importantly, it was good. She became an artist that I truly respected for her talent and work. After moving to Japan for university, I started going to karaoke a lot with my new friend, and since they were all weebs, they all knew Sayuri too. I still remember all the times we tried going super high pitched, trying to scream out her songs like her, all completely failing. Where does one even breathe in the chorus of Mikazuki? We all laughed asking each other. She's insane. I guess you could say we were all casual fans at that point. But then came a piece of media that changed that very quickly for me. Lycoris Recoil. To those new to my channel, Lycoris Recoil is my favorite anime of all time and holds a very special place in my heart. I think you can tell by how many videos I've made on it, even way past its airtime. The ending, Hananoto, is quite an important part of that. The way, the timing at which it played in every episode was so satisfying, not to mention the incredible song. I mean, I liked it so much it kicked off my song lyrics analysis series. It's maybe my favorite Annie song of all time and has won multiple awards. This is when I really started to become a huge fan of her, through Lycoris. I went through her catalog and started listening to many of her albums, even learning how to sing her songs. The feeling of finding an artist you just connect with, the way every song hits like a gunshot. It's not easy to find, but when you do, you really come to treasure it. These were the songs I listened to in the countless hours I spent editing videos, preparing presentations for school. These were the songs that accompanied me through the many times I felt burnt out, depressed, and lost. Not all of her songs are exactly positive. In fact, I'd say some of them hit a bit too close to home. But the feeling that you're understood by someone out there, the feeling that even through this pain, you're not alone, that's what Sayuri's voice managed to convey to me, and when you feel alone in the darkness, that voice can really be your savior. Sayuri writes and composes many of her songs, and you can tell how many of the lyrics reflect her real experiences, how so many of her song lyrics feel like such a raw scream from the heart, like someone holding nothing back, screaming for help, screaming to fight on. You could feel her love for music, you could feel her soul in her music. I feel like even if you don't speak Japanese, you can tell by just how she sings the songs. It really is something to be commended. It's inspirational, and I think the form of art many artists are striving for. It felt like the personification of this is why music connects with people. A year or so passed and I randomly got a notification that Sayuri was doing a concert. As the fan that I am, I obviously wanted to go, so I applied and got the ticket. And I was excited. I wanted to hear her voice live. Was it really as good as it was in the albums? And then something tragic happened. It was right before the concert that Tomori, my favorite seiyuu, was quitting Love Live for health reasons. Again, if you know me, I am a huge Love Live fan and was a Tomori oshi, so this was absolutely devastating to me. Like, I just didn't know what to do. I even had to skip a close friend's surprise birthday party because I was just that broken. I would have brought the entire party's energy down. I had been a fan for years at that point, so I hope you can see why it'd be that bad. But despite this, I still flew halfway across Japan for the live. I mean, I'd bought the ticket already and I still wanted to see her. All I can say is, I did not regret that choice in the slightest. This was the first and only time in my life I'd ever shed tears at a concert. Her live voice was incredible, even more so than the album, but more importantly, her voice was sending a message, both in the intermission and through her singing. I could really feel the message of life gets difficult and painful, but even so, live on, fight on, don't die. And I don't know, the sheer power in her voice just resonated with me so deeply. I felt like I heard a message I so desperately needed to hear at the time. The soul behind her performance was hauntingly real. I don't know how to describe it. It didn't feel like a produced concert despite all the fancy lighting and stuff. I simply felt the heart of a single girl screaming out. I guess the best way I can put it is she felt so human. Nothing was overly positive or negative. Nothing felt fake. The way she sang, conducted herself, didn't feel idol or celebrity-like. It just felt so human. Yeah, that's the right word. Human. The moment that Hananoto came up is still vividly burned into my memory. My fucking shouting, chanting, the energy, the crowd, the voice. It's just indescribable with words to hear your favorite song be performed live. It's one of my life's core memories. Then right as the concert was going to end, a classic encore came up. And instead of the entire band showing up, Sayuri walked on the stage holding a guitar, alone, and sang. No background music, no auto-tune, no bandmates, just an acoustic guitar and her voice, just like the good old street performance days. My first reaction was, you can do that? There's something about an artist just singing her heart out with zero other thoughts, just raw emotion. It's a thing of beauty. I was flabbergasted. My friends had to shut me up from fanboying so hard to them. I really think the power, the message behind Sayuri's voice was what helped me get through the Love Live Tomori incident. To this very day, I can say without a doubt that this was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It sent chills down my spine, and I don't say that lightly. Then came half a year later, and coincidentally, Sayuri was coming to the city I was studying in, so I took the natural course of action and invited a bunch of my friends to go watch the live. Except this time it was an acoustic live at a live house, a much smaller venue where Sayuri would sing alone in front of a much smaller crowd. And I was once again reminded of the sheer power, emotion behind this young girl. But this time, due to the smaller venue, I was able to see Sayuri's facial expressions close up, and again, the pure emotion in her face while singing said everything. It felt personal, as if her music was trying so hard to convey something. It's not something you can get from an everyday artist, and it's not something you can get from someone who doesn't love music with all their heart. She was also a very kind person. Someone collapsed during the live, and as the only person on stage, she very professionally immediately stopped the live to see if they needed medical attention. I don't know Sayuri personally, but as a fan, I could tell Sayuri was a very deep thinker. There were many short intermissions where she would talk about the meaning of life and how it was important to live on even when you were suffering. These intermissions weren't hype fest like the usual concerts. They just felt human, real. I felt like she wasn't singing to perform. I feel like she was singing to convey this message. Something about that message hits me so hard, and it has firmly stayed in my heart since then. And that's it for my experiences. I've been listening to her songs since then, but never will I get the opportunity again to go to another live. I so deeply wish I could have seen more over the years. It feels so unreal to read this piece of news before going to sleep last night. I still don't know how to process it. Furaregai Garu, Mikazuki, Anonymous. There are so many of her songs I love so much, and I cherish the fact that I got to hear a bunch of them live. It's painful that my favorite song of hers would be her final single to ever be released. I guess to me, as a fan, and perhaps to you too if you're a fan, the best thing we can do is live through Sayuri's words. To keep living, don't die, no matter how painful it gets. She also just got married this year. I can't imagine the pain and grief her husband and family must be going through. My condolences to all of them. Sayuri started from nothing, built herself up from a street performer all the way to one of the most influential anti-singers of all time. I'm just another fan in a crowd of weebs, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything, Sayuri. You saved me when I was drowning in despair. You taught me to live on no matter what. You gave fruition to my favorite anime of all time. I hope you know that your voice has reached millions upon millions of people across the world. I hope you know the number of lives you've changed, the amount of people you've inspired, the smiles you've brought upon this world. 28 is too early to go for anyone, but in just these 28 years, you've become an icon. Even as an outsider, I could tell that your passion for music was second to no one. I hope that wherever you are, you can continue playing the music you love so much forever.